What's up, everybody? It's Matt Johnson. We are back with another episode of Real Estate Uncensored. This is the place where you get actionable ideas, insight, and inspiration to turn your real estate career into a life of freedom and become the rockstar agent in your market. And as always, that's what we're talking about. We've got a special guest with us today, the evil bald ninja himself, the Volpinator. Gene Volpe is here for at least a short time. We're going to get into some fun marketing stuff with him. We're going to talk about how to leverage your skills and take the next step in 2018. We're going to take some questions, both live and questions from the Lead Gen Facebook group. We've got a bunch of stuff today. So the Junior Grandmaster himself is in the house, as he so often is, and as you belong. So Greg McDaniel, what is up today?
Oh my, did it pause out? What up, Johnson? What up, Volpinator? Guys, I am excited to be here. You know what? I am literally in the house because this is my house behind me because, Matt and I made a very, very exciting move. We have switched over to eXp Realty. We are forming our own team, the McDaniel Real Estate Systems team, which is going to be a national team, guys. If you guys are wanting to join our team, please go to bookmcdaniel.com. I'm going to shamelessly plug this in every show because you know what? We want to have you guys join our team because the list of things that you guys are going to get when you join our team is way awesome. I mean, Matt and I keep putting the list together, and we're like, holy shit, they get this. Holy shit, they get this. Holy shit, they get this. I mean, I want to join my own team now. I mean, it's that good. It's that good.
Good.
What
good
can
to
I
know,
say?
Greg. Oh, that's funny.
I got jokes.
Oh, I'm sure, I'm
But
sure
yeah,
you
no,
do.
I'm super pumped to be
I
here.
eagerly await for them to finally come out.
At least the funny ones.
Yeah.
Exactly. All right.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
Gene, I think were you with us last week for the first Friday episode of the new year? Very briefly.
I was.
Yes,
I was.
you were-
I gave
you
you
were in
all my
New
loves.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I was in New Orleans. Yes, I
That's
stepped
right.
aside for that. I was in the
How
big, in the
was
big
that, by
comfy
the way?
chair.
Yeah, dude. How was it? You had a good thing, good time down there. You didn't like slide away in booze.
I don't remember.
Famous last words of every college student.
Listen, it was
I don't
great.
remember.
It was great. So there was 11 of us that went, and I believe I was the oldest one there by a good amount of years too, because we went with like family members. And so
Yeah.
I forgot what 11 o'clock in the morning day drinking was like, especially when you go to 2 a.m. So I said like to my wife on the third day, I'm like, I'm getting too old for this stuff, man. I'm ready to go back home.
Give me
tough,
normal
it's tough.
family life. Can't do it. I can't do it.
Yeah. Well, I
Dude,
miss my girls
it is
and everything,
rough.
and I miss my own bed. I miss my own bed too.
Yeah. At 11 a.m. drinking, when did the last time I did that? But I remember coming away from it going, that was a horrible fucking idea. And
I remember
then
why I
immediately
stopped.
being glad. Never was so happy to just face plant onto my couch going, oh, come here, you sweet, good, big, fluffy goodness. Netflix, here we come. Domino's on speed dial. Peace world, I'm gone.
And you know what else too?
And I
So
was out.
the bed we stayed on was like, what's that, concave? Is that concave? That
Yeah,
one?
concaved.
And so each, like you have to roll like out. It took 10 minutes to get out of it. It was just tough, man. I was ready to come back to my own bed. I was ready to get, the whole deal.
It's like the opposite of an 80s waterbed where you're sleeping on like a slope that you have to try to not roll down. So this is
Yes.
you had the opposite experience. You're sleeping in a dugout hole that was like a former World War I bunker that you had to climb out of.
Yeah, and if you picture it too, I said to my wife, I'm like, I don't think we've been this close in years. I wake up and her elbows in my nose. We're both in the pit. We're in the valley.
Oh man! All right. Let's take a question because we could go all day on this, but nobody wants to hear us just ramble on about our most
yes, they
recent
do.
trips.
Yes,
well,
they
maybe
do.
Yes.
I appreciate
People love to hear about people being stupid, especially when Johnson gets stupid.
Okay, fair point. Okay, guys. So let's cover a real quick question. This is from Lindsay Smith out of the Lead Gen Scripts and Objections Facebook group. If you're not a member, go do so right now. So Lindsay says, for about 20 years, one of my biggest sources of business was expired listings, and over the past 5 years, there's been almost none due to the market where pretty much everything's sold. But how things have changed. I'm sitting on about 40 expired leads. So what else can you do to set up yourself apart from other agents calling? And bigger picture, Greg, just how do you ramp up your skills for a type of call you haven't made in 5 years? You know, I mean, imagine if tomorrow a bunch of expired listings came on the market in the Bay Area.
Well, you know, one of the yeah, you're gonna get cat butt. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
It's just
I see
he is a whore for the camera. He is a
For
whore
those
for the
of you
camera. He
listening, Greg's cat had just walked across the screen and is now attempting to eat Greg's microphone stand.
That's
says
hilarious.
no. He's rubbing on it, claiming it as his. He's like, "This is mine, bitches." So one of the things that I'm not the fucking camera douche over there. One of the things that I'm doing right now that's really boding well for me when it comes to expired listings, FSBOs, and what really works well for the Make Me Moves is I call up and I say, hey, you know, who I am, where I'm from, blah, blah, blah. And I said, hey, look, I know that you're trying to sell your home on your own. I totally get it and respect it. I just want to know, would you cooperate with a broker if I brought a buyer? They said, well, yeah. I'm like, great. Would it be okay if I was to help you get more eyeballs on your house at no cost? They're like, okay. I said, great. So this is what I want to do. I want to schedule a time to come on out to your house, and I'm going to bring my camera, and I'm going to bring a microphone, and I'm going to do a Facebook Live about your house. I'm not going to tell them the street. I'm not going to tell them the address, but I want either you or me to walk through the home and do a preview video on the property. And then I'm going to kick it back to my editing team, and we're going to edit it up, and we're going to put it into a little, 2 or 3 minute little highlight reel, and then I'm going to push that out to Facebook for about $20 to $40. And then I'll have everything come back to me, and I'll filter through all the potential buyers, make sure they're qualified and they're actually really buyers, not tire kickers or time wasters. And you know what? If you decide that this is valuable, maybe we can put a deal together. So the expireds, I think this could be something that would be just as useful to the expired listings, because everyone's going to call them and say, hey, Mr. Expired, can I come list your house? Let me show you how good I am at this. Well, why don't you come at them with a different angle and say, hey, look, I want to do a Facebook Live. I want to help promote your house. I want to see if I can get more eyeballs and more people that are interested who may never have seen it, who can't see it, who don't know where to look for it, but they see me. And so every time I've offered this out to people, they're like, they would sit there and it goes a little bit quiet, and they're like, that's really a good idea. Let's book something. Like I called a lead, guys, from 2 years ago, 2016. He's a lender. And I called him up yesterday, and I pitched him on this idea. He loves it. And he wants me to call him back on Monday after he talks with his wife. But that's how I'd approach it. Just be different. Just come at it at a different angle. We all come at it the same damn way. No wonder we're so boring 90% of the time. Or no, people hang up on us because they expect the same cardboard bullshit to come out of our mouths.
That's true. Very, very true. All right, and we've got actually a good question on that from Jason Northcutt. It says, I've been seeing a trend of making calls just to make calls, seeing comments in the groups. It says something to the effect of, I've made 100 contacts today, and then he'll follow up and ask, how many appointments? And every time the answer is, I'm calling for future business, not now business. And the question is, who the hell is teaching this? I don't know. Unless we're talking about circle prospecting, which Jason clarifies he's not talking about that. I mean, if you're making calls to people that have a need for what you do, like FSBOs and expireds, or if you're calling your database who already know, like, and trust you, there's already connection there, you're pretty much halfway there to an appointment anyway. And so there should be some ratio of calls to appointments. And that's one of the things that as you get a better handle on how good you are on the phone and how many calls it takes, you can start tracking how many appointments you set and start setting goals for the number of appointments you set. But, Greg, I'm not familiar exactly with who he's talking about, but there is no sense in just making calls to make calls. That's only step one in the process.
Yeah, I have no idea. Unless the person that's saying they're just making calls to make calls has absolutely no idea what they're doing, and they're embarrassed that they aren't getting appointments, so they're justifying their results. It doesn't make sense just to waste time. I mean, why? If you want to waste time, go watch paint dry.
Yeah, to me, it's like anytime you are starting some form of lead generation, whether it's picking up the phone and calling or whether it's a new marketing program, and Gene, I'd love to hear your opinion on this, but there's going to be a gap in time between the time when you start doing something and you start taking consistent action and when it starts to pay off. But that doesn't mean you don't pay attention to the results that you're getting as you go along. I mean, Gene, if you start doing a marketing campaign, there should be some immediate results. Now, you're not going to get like 90% lead response, those people are not going to be ready to do something right now, but a small percentage of them are. And if you're not getting any appointments, that probably says more about the skills of the person on the phone or the quality of the marketing campaign than anything else. That's my theory on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think if you're making 100 phone calls and you can't get one appointment, I think you definitely need to look into what your presence is about and what you're delivering on the phone, for one. But that said, and I wouldn't teach this, but there is certainly something to be said about filling the funnel and creating relationships. Now, there's one element of this that I think is left out is if I make a phone call for future business, it doesn't stop with that phone call. I still have to get them engaged somehow with the rest of my marketing, right? There needs to be an address that I'm sending a letter to. There needs to be an email address that I can send my newsletters or follow up to. I got to find them on Facebook so I can target them with an ad. I mean, just the phone call by itself, if you're just doing that, is not going to do anything for the most part.
Yeah, I mean, at the very lowest level, let's say your presence and your scripting and your objection handling, Greg, are not quite up to par. It should be pretty easy still to get, nurtures, and you can set your goal for the number of nurtures that you're getting until the point, as you're building that mastery, to ask for the appointment effectively and get the appointment.
Yeah, but you have to understand that the business you're doing the people you talk to today are the people you'll do business with tomorrow. So, I mean, if you're just doing calls to do calls and you're getting the nurtures, I understand that. And that might be the way it goes if you're a brand new agent. But you've got to put in a lot of time onto doing these calls. But you can leverage. This is something, Gene, I'm sure you know this. I absolutely know you know this. But I learned this from Hank the other day doing it when he and I did our first 36 to Life. And I'll put a link in there, guys. If you want to sign up for my next 36 to Life coaching, trust me, guys, it's $200. It's 4 weeks. It's $50 a week. You will fucking love it. Did you know that? Well, Facebook actually just changed their algorithm today or yesterday or something like that.
That's what we're going to talk about, actually.
Okay, good. I'll let you talk about that. But what I was going to say is that to leverage and hack Facebook a little bit, because they only show, or at least they did, and Eugene will go deeper on this, but they only show about 3% of your friends to you on your news feed. And to hack that is to go and create custom lists of different people or friends or whatever you want. And then if you post directly into that group or that list, your message, your video, your whatever will go right onto their timeline. So even if you haven't talked to these people or you haven't seen a lot of stuff from these people for a long period of time, you build a lot of lists, you fill those lists. And this will take time to fill those lists, but as you go through this, you do. You can go on and like we would do like REU podcast watchers. Anyone who said, hey, I'm a podcast watcher on Facebook. Great. We'd put you into a list. Matt and I would push out something, or Gene would push out something to you guys, and it would just go to you, and it would go onto your timelines, and you guys can do this for your people as well. So very cool stuff. But Gene, I want to hear about, because I just heard about, I heard like a rumor floating around on like the NPR news this morning about it. So, dude, do tell about Facebook's new algorithm change.
You want to do that now? You want to get into that now?
Absolutely.
Let's get naughty, man. Let's get naughty.
So, yeah, this is something that could spark a lot of debate and a lot of conversation for sure. And the change hasn't been affected yet, but it came from Zuckerberg's desk yesterday. So basically what they're saying is Facebook has gotten so impersonal that they want to change the way that it looks to people. And so if you think about what your timeline and your news feed looks like today, it's filled. There's a competition for space there, right? And so the way they sort of moved your target, your objective to the advertising dollars. So they said to you, Greg, if you want to get REU Live in front of people and you have a business page, you got to pay for it. And that's almost ensured the fact that you were going to get there, which I think they're obviously not going to get rid of the revenue stream. So paid advertising is still going to be a huge element to their game. But what they're talking about is they're going to condense the news feed. And if you think about the way this arbitrage, the arbitrage works in Facebook's algorithm, they know enough about you to know what it is that you like and you want to spend your time on. And they're going to morph the algorithm to feed you that information first and in your feed. So if you have a business page, people are less likely to see you on their feed than they even are today at that 4 to 10% clip, right?
Yep.
But so here's what they're doing. They're switching it so that it's going to make it more difficult for a business page to get their stuff in front of the regular personal user than it is today. But there's still going to be ways to do it. Greg, you just gave the groups thing, was awesome. The other thing is, here, I'm just going to let this materialize because it already worked, but come on, everybody wants to see it, come on. I have my cat running around too, and the butt is coming this way too in a second.
Oh,
but,
you guys both have cat? You're cat people? Oh.
I'm not an anything people, to be honest with you.
How did I end up on a podcast with two cat people? You know, I'm so selective on who I allow into my life, and then I find this out.
I am not.
Hey, you knew about that from the.
All.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm not. I have one, and I'll tell you the story in another episode because it's a good one. But anyway, so sorry, I digress. So you're still going to be able to spend advertising dollars, but here's what they're hinting to. There's one thing that's going to allow business pages to continue to show up on feeds. Or actually, two things. One is you can invite your folks to actually set on the page that I want to see this content first in my newsfeed. So if everybody goes to REU Live, on the right there's three buttons, or I forget exactly where it is, but there's three buttons that will say show first. And when you wake up in the morning or go to bed at night, whatever the latest stuff is that you're telling Facebook that you want to see will be right there, including business pages. The other thing, too, is Facebook saying business pages will suffer less if there is engagement from personal profiles right on the business page. So what they're saying in a roundabout fashion is if you do videos and you do live videos, and inside both of those posts, there's a lot of engagement interaction from people, your stuff is going to reach more people organically by default. So what I'm telling you, if you don't want to spend dollars, Facebook video and upload the video there, and Facebook Live all day, every day.
So we go live off of my personal page, and there's a ton of interaction and activity, and I love it. But we also share it out to 18 other pages and groups. So the other pages and groups, if people are interacting with it on those pages and groups, then it will be served to more people in that group or page. Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, no, I think it's more like this, and the answer to that could be yes, but I think it's more like this. When I give my presentations and I give my talks, I always say to people, Facebook wants to deliver to more people what other people are saying is great content. So you'll organically reach other folks in the group, outside of the group, if people that you're serving it to is telling Facebook that it's awesome content. And how do they do that? Engagement, likes, comments, shares, conversation. So the more that stuff you get, the more people organically Facebook is going to serve that up to. Where that happens, is it going to be on Greg McDaniel's personal page or in 3 groups or Gene's friends because we're connected somehow? I don't know the answer to that. But you will get more organic reach by driving the conversation inside.
Right. So for an agent, and by the way, guys, if you're with us live, help us out and hit the like and or heart button to do exactly what Gene is talking about, to let Facebook know that this is actually content that you like. Because I think that's something that we do forget to do. Number one, we forget to ask for it. Number two, we forget to give it to other people. We might be sitting back and enjoying the content, but we are sitting back, right? And the more we sit back, the less we engage. We're actually going to end up losing out on the content that we like. We're actually interested enough to watch it, but if we don't comment, if we don't engage, if we don't hit the like button or whatever and tell Facebook, hey, I like this, they're going to serve up less of it to us, and that's not a good thing. So let us know. Make sure to hit that like and heart button, all that good stuff.
So, but Gene, I want to talk about but there's a honey trap in there as well. When they're also going to be coming down very heavily on people who are bait clicking, setting up bait clicking traps. And so, explain bait clicking. Because people like, they say, hey, like, if you type in, hey, like this, or which one do you, out of these 4 photos, which one do you like best? Or, click if you like this comment. If you write that stuff in there.
That don't add value. They're phrased in such a way that they generate engagement.
Yeah. And Gene, explain that a little bit more, because that's a really thing, because people get tempted that if they type, like, here's my new listing, click if you like it, give me a heart if you like it, that's a big problem. Don't do that. It has to be organic. It cannot be prodded for people to engage with you.
So, truth be told, I'm not sure yet what Facebook's going to deem. There is actually, I'm looking for it as we talk. There's a blog post on Facebook's media page that sort of explains it, and I remember actually seeing a hyperlink to what, here you go, is engagement bait is what they call it.
Engagement bait, yeah.
And I'm going to look at it, but voting, react baiting, share baiting, there's different things here. Tag baiting, comment baiting. I think, so think of it this way. People that advertise on Google pay-per-click? And so the ad comes up, and you don't pay. If you're advertising, you don't pay on Google pay-per-click unless somebody clicks the link. And you have another competitive agent in the area. I've heard this a lot. You have another competitive agent in the area that knows it costs you money if I click your link, so they go out and click your link. You ever heard that?
Yeah. They're driving up like your Google AdWords or your Facebook ad cost.
Exactly. So in this particular case, it's almost the reverse of that. They do it. People do it. It's crazy.
That's
but
hilarious.
In this case, it's the reverse of that. If you're tricking people into clicking something so you're going to get organic traffic off the click and there's nothing else behind it, then you're going to get penalized.
Yeah, I mean, this is very similar. I mean, it goes, all the way back to, Facebook with the posts and things like that are like Google AdWords or Google circa 1999. Like, if you could just build a bunch of backlinks to your website, you were golden, because that's all that Google was measuring at that point, right? Then they got smart, and then they started to measure, okay, well, once they click on the link, what do they do on your website? Well, 90% of them leave right away. Okay, well, that's not good. Now, obviously, we're screwing up and we're serving people up stuff that they don't care about, because once they get there, they're leaving. So Facebook is doing the same thing. They keep going down the rabbit hole, and they keep technologically getting better at figuring out, okay, what's actually good content versus what is artificially designed to produce the responses and game the system. So I think, as always, the big takeaway is that there may be very short window opportunities to game the system, and certainly keep track of those, because there may be some opportunities to grab some land and get some mind share, attract new fans that maybe Facebook will help you out, and we're always open to those opportunities, and we'll try to bring them to you whenever we spot them. But the long-term strategy is always just frickin' put out good content that people actually like.
Yep.
For the love of all the student
That's the easiest way. You're 100% right, man. Facebook is not, they know everything. They're not stupid. And when they see that people are engaging with you honestly and that people are sticking around, they track how many people jump into this podcast with us and how many people stay for 40 seconds and bounce versus the people that are here for the whole, hour and 4 minutes. So they know that, right?
And we'd like to thank the millions of you who are watching for the entire hour. We love you very much. Millions across the world that are watching.
Millions.
Billions, Matt. Billions, Frito.
Billions.
Billions.
That's right. Did you say billion? Okay.
80 billion, Frito.
That's right. All right. So, Gene, anything else other than just the admonishment to create good content? Gene, how is your video blog series going, by the way?
It's actually, it's stalled over the holiday because I have so much content that I haven't been able to edit it together. So between New Orleans last week and the holidays, I got about 55 hours worth of content. So I'm going to put together the best. No, I'm really not that many.
Okay, good.
But it's enough. And I got to also sort out the stuff that I don't necessarily want.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah. So all the beads. I got you, Gene. So all right. So let people know where they can connect with you and keep up with your video blog.
Well, listen, if we're talking Facebook, I would appreciate if everybody would take a gander over to Gene Volpe, Marketing and Media Specialist on Facebook, and click the like button, and also, if you don't mind, just set it up so that I show up in your newsfeed if the changes do take place.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. And Matt and I ask for the same thing.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Except Gene, you're a wealth of knowledge, my friend. Yes.
Wait, what did you say?
I said, except go do ours after Gene. So go sign up with Gene. Hit subscribe first, but then go to ours and hit subscribe first. So it's first above Gene.
Listen, here's what I would say to people. If you get these three faces in the top of your newsfeed every morning for the first thing when you're drinking your coffee, how could the day go bad?
That's right.
It can't. It can't.
Right. Hashtag
We're
win. Hashtag all I do is win.
No matter what.
That's right. All right. On that note, Gene, I know you got to run. We don't want to keep you, but we love having you on the Friday episodes. So thank you so much.
And I love being here. You guys have a great weekend.
All right, you too.
All right, brother. You have a good one.
You too. Thanks.
All right. So let's get back to chatting about leveraging your skills and kind of taking the next step. There's a couple of really good questions. We've got one on assistance that we'll get to in a second, because I want to talk about what that next step is after, once you've hit the point where you've really leveraged your skills, and now it's time to start leveraging the skills of somebody else. I'm going to cover that in a second. But Ozzy Ramirez has a great question out of the Lead Gen Scripts group. Says, curious, what's your priority when it comes to phone lead gen? Do you only call expireds? Do you only call FSBOs, database, allied resources, circle prospecting, farming? There's a lot. Greg, for most agents, like let's say you have all of those available to you, because obviously you don't in your market, but let's say you did. What would your hierarchy of like effectiveness when it comes to making phone calls?
Really comes down to how much pain do you want in your life.
Okay.
I mean, I take the high road when it comes to low dosages of pain, and I do just circle prospecting. I mean, expireds and FSBOs, there's going to be a lot of pain, a lot of rejection involved with both of those. But those are people that have, want, need, and desire to do something. I mean, there's no guesswork involved there. They want to do something if they can find a way to do it. It's your job to put the puzzle pieces together to make it happen. So, I mean, like Darren Hardy talks about in The Compound Effect that he wrote, when he first started at 20 years old doing real estate in Alameda County, which is right next to us here, he went to a conference, and he took the conference leader to lunch, and he said, "I want to be ultra successful. How do I do it?" And the guy says, "Go fail as big and as fast and as often as you possibly can." So Darren took him at his word on that, and so that's exactly what he went out and did. And so to prioritize, this is what Darren did, and this is what I would probably, say for you guys. He would go and hit the expireds first thing in the morning. He'd go hit the FSBOs and go knock on them and call them. Then he would go door knocking, and then he would end out the day doing circle prospecting. So to prioritize them, I would put where the biggest pain is for that client. So an expired, there could be some stress there. There's going to be some anger there. I mean, that's a pretty stressful situation, a lot of pain there. A FSBO, new or old, if they're a little bit older on the side, not older age-wise, but older on the market age, they're going to get a little bit frustrated. They're going to realize it's a full-time job. They're going to realize, oh my God, to keep the house clean, and I have to show it, and I have to be a husband or a wife, and I have to be a father, and I have to be employed. Fuck this. There's pain. So find the biggest pain and find the solution. That's the priority I would put it in. Matt?
Yeah, well, I 100% agree. I think if you take pain completely out of it, then you just go with the people who are experiencing the most pain on their side, which is the expireds, FSBOs, and then you can throw into the mix other things like probate leads, and I mean, there's a lot of people who have an intense, urgent need. I would say expireds and FSBOs 1 and 2, and then in terms of highest percentage, it's also probably the lowest pain. But because the people that know you and like you and trust you, the conversations, there's already the trust built for referrals. I would say I would put that at number 3, so I agree with him. We talk about the pain levels of prospecting. It's been a while, but we talk about that in the farming training, which we don't really mention that much. But you can get that at farmlikegreg.com. That's our high-touch real estate farming training. It's 8 hours of freaking content. That was one of the things we talked about, is exactly how the pain levels of prospecting break down in terms of cold, warm, and hot. So the pain to you of what type of call or what type of conversation you are having. And, of course, it's also linked to what type of pain they're experiencing. If they're in massive pain because their home expired off the market, they're going to cause pain to you because they have had a bad taste with their real estate experience. If they're a FSBO, and they're 2 or 3 or 4 weeks in and they haven't sold their home, and they've got people traipsing through their home and calling them, and they're having to do showings and nothing's happening, there's some pain there. And they're also resistant to listing with an agent, but they're failing. So there's pain for you and there's pain for them so there's pain on both sides. And so we kind of broke that down. So I like how you think of it in terms of cold, warm, and hot. So that's kind of how I think about that. Thanks to you.
Yeah, well, you're welcome, good sir. I'm glad I could bring some value into your life. Put a little sunshine on those gloomy days.
Well, it's not all cat butts around here, thank God.
No more little brown stars right in your face. Bandito brown star, hashtag. That's going to start trending.
No.
Bandito's brown star.
Do not make that trend on Twitter, for God's sake.
One of the things is that when I was sitting there, I have the farming doc, which is a living document that I'm always adding to, changing, deleting from. I started thinking about, why aren't people farming? Why are some people good? Why are some people bad? Then I started looking at the pain points and I started rating them, and all of a sudden it came to light, the cold, warm, hot, and then I've added the different personality types that are most likely to do X, Y, and Z, and it's really interesting, kind of how those go. I wonder if we should make that document public, Matt, for a little small cost. I don't know. Or just keep it behind the scenes. Small cost of your first child. Exactly. One of those things.
Or just flood Greg's Facebook inbox with messages. Feel free to go do that.
You can do that. We talk about EXP.
Yeah, that's also true. Well, and you just popped this in, bookmcdaniel.com, your booking link for that. So yeah, that's an interesting one. I like the pain levels of prospecting, why do you dial, what you dial, and so forth. So that's definitely something to think about, because it also, to me, you'd want to group those in terms of like skills. So getting back to the conversation of like kind of developing and leveraging your skills, if you have a skill set, like if you develop an expired skill set, the skill set of picking up the phone and calling expired listings, you have an ability to compress your communication. You have an ability to talk to a seller who's frustrated, who has something that they want to get done that can't get it done. Like that skill set, you don't need to be quite as confrontational with FSBOs, but like once you develop that skill set for expireds, like that translates very easily over into for sale by owners. And if you develop those two skill sets, it makes it infinitely easy, very, very easy, Greg, for you to pick up the phone and do circle prospecting. Like a circle prospecting call is a freaking no-brainer if you can call an expired listing. So I just wanted to point out that if you do, like if you go the route and you want to build your skills the fastest, go to the toughest right away. Go to the highest pain level and build those skills first, and it will build your skills faster. I mean, that's how guys like Haas Pratt got started. He called the expireds first, called the FSBO second, circle prospect third, and they became listing masters within 1 to 2 years.
Yeah, that's what Darren did, Darren Hardy. You guys, I'm seriously, you can go buy the book, Compound Effect or The Compound Effect, or go to YouTube. You'll hear Darren talk about it on a lot of his keynote speeches that he does. But just the amount of work that you put in right now, you won't see the effects for 30, 60, 90, 120 days. But if you stay on task and you do it day in and day out, and you don't give up and you don't stop and you don't wonder why this isn't working, guys, you'll be incredibly successful. I mean, that's what Hank and I teach in the 36 to Life classes. We talk about staying on task, time on task, as we call it. And he actually, Matt, he brought up a really good point in our first class 2 days ago. He's like, Greg, how was your results in your podcast your first year? My response was, dumpster fire. We didn't know what the fuck we were doing, right? He's like, well, if you had based your decision to move forward on those results, would you have moved forward and stayed doing the podcast? I'm like, no, Matt and I would have been like, we're so frustrated, we're just, we're out of here. But Matt and I have put time on task.
Well, we weren't frustrated because we understood that it wasn't about those particular types of results that we're talking about. We were getting results in other areas. So we weren't frustrated, just FYI, guys. We loved what we're doing. Yeah.
No. You misunderstand what I'm saying. Like, this is relating back to a real estate agent. Like, you were frustrated because you're not getting the results because you did 2 weeks of phone calls and you haven't gotten anything. Buck up, Buttercup. It's going to take a fucking little longer than that. Yeah. But, if you do 6 months of calls, if you do 500 calls a day for 6 months, I'm sorry, man. Mathematically, it's impossible for you to not be generating leads. Now, you converting the leads, go with God. I have no control over that. I can't help you.
Well, that's the next level of skill development, right? So you do something like first you generate the leads. Like solve that problem first, right? Like figure out how to solve the problem of, okay, how do I generate leads? Then you move on to the next problem, which is, okay, great, now I've got leads, what do I do with them to convert them? Okay, awesome. Like you convert them into appointments, then you figure out, okay, how do I get better at appointments? Awesome. Now I've got that down. Okay, well now how do I get the listings to sell faster so that I start the process over and over again faster and faster and faster, right? That's just like, that's the way it goes for any business. Like you're always in that process. You're always going through the same thing. Like, first of all, you come up with something to sell. You figure out who to sell it to. Then it's a game of how can I get through that process as fast as possible of figure out how to generate, figure out how to convert, figure out how to convert the appointments into sales, figure out how to service the clients at a high level without losing the ability to go back to the beginning of the cycle and generate leads again. So I think that's one of the reasons why I recommend the book Scale a lot, is I don't think most agents, and small business owners, it goes for us too, or marketing people or whatever, I don't think most people are aware of what stage of the business they're in, because most people never get out of the stage of figuring out how to generate leads. They spend their entire career, their entire business lives stuck in the cycle of doing a variety of different things and always trying something new to generate leads. They never turn it into a system, so they never even get to the next level of, okay, great, now I've solved that problem of how do I generate leads. Now let's talk about solving the problem of how do I convert them and increase the conversion so I have control over that aspect of the business. And so nothing else, like really once you read the book Scale, even if you only get 3 chapters in, like that's one of the big ahas for me. I'm like, this is where everybody gets stuck. They get stuck because they allow themselves to get stuck in that phase of figuring out how to generate leads, and they never leave that phase. So that's a great reason to go grab that book. And Dave Pinnell has a great comment. Got to be a skillionaire to be a millionaire. I love that quote.
Well, you also, I think a lot of the times, Matt, it might be an evil trap that people get themselves caught in, because if you get known as a guy or gal who's trying to figure out their business, and you're scared to be past that level because your identity is the person who's hustling and grinding and in the trenches and doing their thing, what happens to their identity when they become successful? What does that mean for their own subconscious mindset? Does success mean something scary, or does it mean something fulfilling? And I think a lot of the times, like it's in the self-help world, people who are reading
for
self-help
Larry
books all
David,
the
it means
time.
more work, which he doesn't want to do.
Well, you are Larry David.
I have a little bit of that streak in me. I was watching.
Yes, you
I was
do.
watching Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee last night. The episode of Jerry and Larry David, and Jerry made a crack that he's like, you don't like to work very hard. It's like, no, I'm incredibly lazy. He's like, I was looking forward to Seinfeld getting canceled just so I didn't have to work so much. It's a great line.
Don't be Larry David.
That's right. Or do and channel your laziness into coming up with something that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, don't. But my point is, guys, is that you look at try to take a look at what your identity is right now. Are you the hustler and grinder? Are you the successful person? Are you the new agent? What does your identity say to the world? And then own it, but don't be stuck with it. There's a difference there. Because a lot of us, we are so excited, like, I'm a new agent. Okay, you're going to stay a new agent because you're so excited because you keep telling yourself a new agent, or you can't grow past a certain point. When I first heard this concept, I was blown away by it because I'm like, fuck, that's me. Certain sort of circumstances in life. It's something you don't know unless you look at it, right?
Right. Yeah, it's 100% true. Yeah, I think a lot of agents get stuck in that area, and they never really get the skill part of generating leads, and part of that is focus. The question that we took earlier about just from Ozzy about the hierarchy. I mean, he listed off 6 types of phone calls. That's just phone calls alone, and phone calls are only one type of lead generation for real estate. So I think a lot of agents get really overwhelmed with the number of options that are available to them, and they take the approach of more is better. More is more. Like the more types of calls I make, the more type of this that I do, plus this, and I'm going to do some postcards, I'm going to do a little bit of door knocking and calls. They think that the swarm approach works. The problem is you're not swarming one person. You're usually swarming a bunch of different types of people, and so you're really not swarming them at all. You're scattering, right? You're throwing your seed, like you're trying to plant a crop, and you're like throwing your seed like on 7 different fields. Like you're not going to grow anything that way. And Greg,
Monsanto's going to
stop
be very
chuckling.
upset with you.
Yeah,
Monsanto will be very upset.
Monsanto will be very upset. Yes, exactly. So you want those crops in nice, tidy little rows, and that's the richest farmers are the ones that are really good at doing that. So that's if I have one thing that I could say to myself too, that's one of my big focuses. That's why my big focus for this year, Greg, is focus. My focus is focus. My focus is on saying no, mostly to Greg, but sometimes to other people.
Hey, I proposed for Matt and I to say no to an opportunity the other day, and Matt's like, no, we should probably say yes to that one. And I'm like, the first time I fucking say no to something, Matt's like, no, bro, we should really say yes.
That's right. Well, I just have to question your judgment. That's all.
Insanity. 90% of the time.
Yeah, but if you look at the top teams, and Lance Loken's team at Keller Williams is a great example of this. Their one goal for 2017 was increasing appointments set to appointments that actually conducted ratio. One number, one ratio out of their performance model was their entire goal for the year. That was the one thing they focused on.
That's one of the things I was listening to with Darren Hardy and Tony and a few other people. Like, now that I'm working at my house, I got to tell you, man, I get to listen to all the inspirational shit I want to, and it's all fucking day. It's like an inspirational fest over here. It's freaking awesome. Lord. Next time. But it's one of the things they were talking about, and it really hit home for me. Darren was doing a thing about, how to distractions, and that the number one thing that kills productivity is being distracted. The average person can stay concentrating on a task for 3 minutes and then we'll get distracted and it takes them 11 minutes to get back on task. I'm no mathematician, but that's not a good ratio. And so what he says is that what he does is he sits down for 90-minute blocks, phone off, email off, the whole thing, no distractions whatsoever, sits down, time on task, 90 minutes to solve a project. He has said that he gets more done in 90 minutes than most people get done in an entire day. Actually, Darren talked about that in the compound. Actually, in one of his keynotes, he talked about the fact that when he was in real estate, he was putting in just massive hours, days. But he was like the number one agent, right? He was the king dog, king ding-a-ling. But he got frustrated with the lack of productivity, so he went out and bought a stopwatch. So he would time his productivity time. So went to a door, click. Left the door, click. Picked up the phone, click. On, hung it up, click, off. So on and so forth throughout the day. His first day, 16 hours long, got done with it, didn't let himself look at the stopwatch. Guess how long he was actually productive in a day?
How long, Greg?
19 minutes.
Oh.
19 minutes. And we think we're so productive all day long, but we're really not productive whatsoever. Then there was Forbes put out an article in regards to Fortune 500 CEOs. And they said that the CEOs were like 73 minutes productive per day. And, some bigwig, I forget the name of the guy, goes, that's bullshit. Redo it. And
like it's way too high.
Oh, way too high. And so they redid it. Fortune 500 CEOs that do massive amounts of work and have massive responsibilities, productivity 23 minutes a day. So, guys, in our new year, where are you? How productive are you really? Don't lie to me and go like, I worked a long day. Well, I can say I can sing the same bullshit song. Yeah. It's not true. I mean,
actually, it's a really great answer to this question that I haven't pitched to yet. This is from Jerry in the lead gen script objections. It says, good morning, I'm a new realtor and super excited to get my business rolling. For all you seasoned realtors, can you share the one thing that you found was the most important thing to do right out of the gate? And I think it ties into this because if I were to give that recommendation, here's what I would say knowing what I know now. Now, I didn't know this back in the day. I wish I did. The most important thing you probably do as a new agent is track three things. How many attempts did you make? How many conversations did you actually have? And how much time did you spend in those conversations? Just like with the stopwatch analogy. If you could just track those things.
That's exactly what we teach at 36 to Life. We teach 50, 20, 5, and 1. 50 connections, like you go out and just, say high five someone, 20 comments, 5 conversations, and 1 really in-depth conversation with someone. If you do that every day, maybe track just that as a new agent and stay the fuck out of the bullpen in the office.
Oh, God.
Okay? Join EXP, damn it. Work from home.
Yeah, exactly. Don't go into the bullpen at all.
Oh, I'm insanely productive here. I mean, I walk from my kitchen to here. I sit down, computer's on, leads are in front of me, computer's rolling. I got my inspirational shit rolling in my head. I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy inside, like I just took 10 shots with goodness. And I just start doing my calls. And it's just the productivity. I've never been more productive in my life than being here at my house.
God help me if I ever have to hang around you when you've had 10 shots.
Oh, you will. Trust me.
I don't care if there's shots of wheatgrass, but espresso or any form of alcohol. No, I don't want to be anywhere near the vicinity when you've had 10 shots.
10 shots of alcohol, and I'm a fucking fun guy. 10 shots of espresso, I'll be a cracked out whack job sleeping under a bridge.
Good to know. All right, so this is another good question. Mona is a new member in the Lead Gen Scripts and Objections Facebook group, so welcome, by the way. Mona says, virtual assistant versus in-house, which do you prefer, and have you tried both? I have tried both in the sense that I have both virtual staff and in-house staff. And so this is the next level up, right? So once you've leveraged your skills to the point where you have a good handle on bringing in leads, right? And you've leveraged your skills to the point where you can convert those leads comfortably, and you have a sense of control over that. Then you can start working on leveraging the skills of other people. If I were doing it, like if I were recommending to an agent where to start, a lot of agents kind of fall into having an assistant, Greg, because they have somebody that's not in the business that kind of sees what they're doing and goes, hey, I like showing houses. Like, hey, what do you say, like, I come be your assistant? And then, bam, you have an assistant. What you really have is a drinking buddy who you're paying. And nobody needs that. But if you have a real assistant, that's why I would encourage people to start with a like a virtual assistant, whether they're in the States or not. Like you can work with somebody in the Philippines or whatever. But like having a virtual assistant really, really, like it takes you longer to do things up front. But Greg, the lessons that you learn when you're forced to start delegating things to people, it teaches you a lot about leadership, and you start learning better how you get results, like how you do things, and it then reflects back the need for you to actually start doing things consistently, which is a lot of times why people burn through assistants, right? Because they don't want to make those changes. There's a leadership challenge that comes even in paying someone for 5 or 10 hours a week to do some work for you part-time. There is a leadership challenge and a personal development challenge that comes with it that is very important. And so the earlier you can start like taking that step, the better. The better it'll be for your entire life.
Yeah, but there's a difference between a leader and a boss. You know, a
Yeah,
boss sits up on the throne and, you know, yells down to you orders. A leader is going to get out in front and show you how to get it done. So be careful, guys, when you guys are out there doing this. Don't be the boss. Don't be the dickhead that's sitting in the throne, you know, who's untouchable now. Be the guy or the gal that's going to get down, get their hands dirty, be in the trenches with your people, showing them the processes, you know, and being available to them. That's a leader. A leader is out. That's what it says. Lead in front. You're leading the charge, you know. And you know, at one of my old companies, you know, we had a boss, and that boss wasn't what the agents needed. They needed a leader. Yeah. Because that's what as agents, we're independent creatures. That's why we're real estate agents. We're independent. We don't want to be stuck in a cubicle with fluorescent lights, you know, doing TPS reports, you know, answering to 3 different bosses. That sounds horrible. We want to go out there and take over the world in our minds and our markets and our, you know, and everything else in life. So be a leader in life. Be a leader to your team, or if you're going to grow a team, just keep that in mind. And there's an image that just comes to mind. I'll try to find it and post it in here about the difference between a boss and a leader. But
yeah, it's really good. Well, because that carries over into the work that we do with clients too. A client is someone who is under the care and protection of another. That another is you. So the clients are looking to you. At least that's the way it's supposed to work. Is they're looking to you for care and protection and guidance, and they want you. The reason they're hiring you is to get them and help them get the results that they want that they can't get on their own. And so what people sometimes never learn, sometimes people learn it very quickly. Sometimes people come to real estate already having leadership skills, and so it's not even a lesson they have to learn. They just already exhibit the traits, and they're successful. But there are a lot of people, I think, that are in real estate that never really figure out that your job is not to be a paper pusher, an order taker, or even a salesperson. Your job is a leader. Right, you're leading the clients to the results that you want. If you're really good at that, you'll get the opportunity to lead people on your team to help clients get the results that you want. It's all leadership. And so if you think of yourself as anything, don't think of yourself as a salesperson. Don't think of yourself as, you know, anything less than a leader. That's essentially what we are.
Yeah, you couldn't have said it better, my friend.
Yeah. All right, well, let's wrap things up. Let's see. We got one last question I might want to take towards the very end. But Greg, how do people connect with you?
Guys, go to bookmcdaniel.com. Bookmcdaniel.com. Guys, book a 30-minute call with me about joining Matt and I, our national real estate team with eXp Realty. I'd love to sit down and talk to you guys about it. Look, there's something that's really cool about eXp. One, that they allow you to be you 100%. They don't try to force their brand, their culture on you. They want you to be free. You know, it's like the Haight-Ashburys in the 60s. Just be free and smoke some weed, player. Minus the weed.
Okay.
But, ooh, I feel so much better about my clients. But in all seriousness, guys, they want you to fly your own freak flag. They want you to have your own brand, you know, and I'll explain all that to you. But there's also 3 different revenue sources that I'll break down for you when you join eXp. You have your normal real estate income. You have your team income if you decide to build a team, and then you have stocks. It's a publicly traded company, guys, and you get stock when you bring an agent on your team. You get stock when you sell a house. And if you can't, when you get done with your cap at $16,000, if you do 20 deals over that, they give you the $16,000 back as company stock. So there's a way to build a legacy in this company. And God forbid, knock on wood, if anything were to happen to you, your spouse, or kids, or anything like that, a catastrophe. If you build the team and there is that passive income, you can spend time with your loved ones if something happens and still get paid to do it. All right.
Yeah.
So we're scratching the top with our pinky nail on what this thing can, what EXP and our team can bring to you. And I'll tell you about the predictive analytics and a lot of the other things and kind of how that's going that our team has a special discount for, so on and so forth. Anyways, go to bookmcdaniel.com, guys. Book 30 minutes with me. If you don't like it, that's cool, man. We got to meet a new person, hang out, and that's cool. I have no problem if you don't want to join our team. But if it is something for you, set it up. Let's knock it down together. Let's take over the world. Let's have some fun and make some money. And make sure that you spend some time with your freaking family, man.
That'd be good.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Me?
Right, I won't go there. All right, guys. For me, if you guys need some strategic direction and guidance or an outside second opinion on all the courses and programs and coaches and all these people that we know that maybe some people that you've heard on the show that you're not sure if you should invest in their coaching or their programs or whatever the case is, just let us know. Book a call on my calendar at 15.bookjohnson.com. You can grab 15 minutes on my calendar. We can quickly chat about that, get a sense of where you're at, where you want to be, and what the best next step is for you, regardless of what that is. I'm happy to take any calls like that as long as my schedule allows, which there's not a lot of time, so I apologize, guys, if you go there and there's nothing available for a couple weeks, but just go there and grab a time whenever it's available. I'm happy to jump on. For the show itself, make sure to subscribe, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, depending on whether you want audio or video versions and what your device is. We always appreciate the ratings and the reviews, but mostly we appreciate you sharing the show with your agents that you're friends with your broker, all that good stuff. You notice we don't run any advertising for the show. The show grows because you grow it. So we just want to thank you, and we say we love you guys for that.
Yeah, we absolutely do love you guys. Make sure you do not go to Book a 15-inch Johnson. That'll take you to a horrible site.
Is this the new theme? Is you're just going to come up with the most outrageous examples of the wrong spelling of my link for the rest of time?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Matt hit on something there. We really do love you guys, and we thank you, and we appreciate you, and we couldn't do this without you guys. So share this to a friend, a coworker, a family member, your cat, your goldfish, your hamster, and what other animal creature on planet Earth that might want to listen to this. But guys, we're here for you. I will talk to you. Matt apparently won't. He's too good for you. I am a man of the people. I will be with you. I am there with you.
Thanks,
He hates me.
Appreciate it.
All right, Matt, what should we do? You want to put what on this?
A bow. A nice, tidy little bow.
Nice, tidy little bow. All right, guys. Peace out, ninjas. We gone.